Hello everyone! Today we're going to be jumping into Historic Brawl with the Locust God. Now the Locust God is a 6 mana 4/4 creature with flying, and it has a very fun ability where whenever we draw a card we can create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. Additionally, we can go ahead and pay 2, a blue and a red, to draw a card, then discard a card, and when the Locust God dies, we can also return it to our hand at the beginning of the next end step. So that can also be a very powerful way to keep his costs down over the course of the game. Now this deck has a fairly straightforward game plan. We've got a lot of ramp pieces from the Celestis to the Ring to Mindstone, Cold Steel Heart, Arcane Signet, and so on and so forth, trying to get all of that mana very quickly. We also have some cheap card draw options, things like Brainstorm and Faithless Looting, which are going to synergize really well with that drawing a card and creating insects theme we have going on with our commander, as well as some counter spells and some other value. Now when we go up to the top end of our deck, we do have a couple of stronger threats here. We do have things like Fiery Emancipation, which is going to triple our damage, which is going to be really strong for us. We also have Epiphany and Time Warp for extra turns. We've got Shark Typhoon as well, which is going to be a great way to go ahead and get some more creatures on the battlefield. We have a very similar thing with Metallurgic Summonings. But let's talk a little bit about some of the combos that we have in this deck to go ahead and get the win. So first and foremost, comboing with the Locust God, we've got Sage of the Falls. This is going to let us draw a card whenever another non-human creature enters the battlefield. So notably, our insects will enter the battlefield, draw a card, trigger making an insect, so on and so forth. That's infinite insects and infinite card draw, up until we deck ourselves, of course. And then Kindred Discovery, where we can pick insect and it does the same thing. Now, how do we want to get a payoff with both of those on the battlefield? We do have the Witty Roastmaster here, which will deal 1 damage for each of those creature ETBs and can be a great way to close out the game that way. Now, we also have Niv Mizzet in this deck. Niv Mizzet is going to deal 1 damage to any target whenever we draw a card, so that's some good card draw synergy. And we can actually pair that with Curiosity here, where whenever an enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you can draw a card. So we enchant Niv Mizzet, draw a card, deal damage, draw a card, so on and so forth, until our opponent is dead. And we also have Rawl the Storm Conduit here. Now, Rawl will deal 1 damage to an opponent or opponent's planeswalker whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. We can actually use that to go ahead and copy expansion here and copy expansion with expansion, thus creating a loop of spells being copied. We're casting an infinite number of spells and closing out the game that way, which can be very strong for us. Aside from that, the mana base is fairly straightforward. 15 islands, 15 mountains, a bunch of the dual-colored lands, and 1 copy of Field of Ruin. Now, if you guys have been enjoying my content, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on my latest videos. And if you do like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Let's go ahead and see how this deck does. Alright, so opponent goes first. We're playing up against Glissa. This isn't a bad starting hand. Search for Azcanta is going to be good for finding some cards that are going to be some solid value for us. We have Absorb Energy as a counterspell, which isn't bad either. Now our opponent's just doing some ramping. Let's start with the tap Steam Vents, since we don't have that turn 1 play. Alright, our opponent's focusing on ramp and hasn't got out their commander quite yet, so this is actually really good for us. I'm going to go ahead and hold up Tail's End instead of play the Search for Azcanta. I think it's going to be more valuable to hold this up and put our opponent behind when they try and cast their commander this turn. That being said, they could use Delighted Halfling and make it uncounterable, but we will see. Alright, opponent's going to be taking Tail's End here, most likely. I could see another potential case for taking the Djinn. No, they take Search, okay. Yep, there's Glissa. Can't be countered because Delighted Halfling. And that's fine. Let's go Arcane Signet. Looking good so far. Opponent's just gonna swing in. Yep, opponent's just gonna draw a card here as well. Not too bad. Nothing to really be afraid of. Next turn we can play out our Djinn, hold up at Tail's End. Could be good. Getting close to Sunbird's Invocation. It's going to help us get some additional value out of the spells we cast. Alright. Canker Bloom, that's fine. I do kind of want to see them sacrifice it. Because we can just counter that ability with Tail's End. Keep our Arcane Signet. And I do think it is worth it to protect our Arcane Signet. Opponent's thinking about whether or not they have something else to do. I don't think they do. Maybe they're thinking about activating Canker Bloom here. We'll see. Yep. Guess they are just waiting for no reason. Yep, and they've passed the turn. Alright, well, let's go ahead and play out our Djinn. It's going to go ahead and reduce the cost of all our spells. Now we have access to Absorb Energy and Tail's End, so we've got both. We can make a judgment call based on what our opponent does here. So if we do that, we lose our Signet, so we'll just let the Djinn die. That's fine. Still holding up a Tail's End, so that's going to be good for us. Plus, now that our opponent's out a removal spell, yep, we just counter that. You sacrifice your guy for nothing, and that's fine. Decent value for us. So, I think our plan is to get out our Sage of the Falls next turn, then Locust God the following turn. Of course, Locust God creates all those creatures with haste, so that's going to put us in a really good spot. We really want this guy to stay alive. We are going to draw a card. Discard a card. We'll go ahead, discard... We'll discard Sunbird's Invocation. That's going to be fine. We'll play our Mountain. So now, we really just need Sage of the Falls to stay alive here. So no removal spells for our opponent, please. We are very close to executing that combo. Okay, gonna draw some more cards. Doing that proactively. I'm not quite sure if they read what Sage of the Fall does. Maybe they don't know it combos yet. That would be ideal. I would love to just be able to keep that. Nice, removing the counters from the One Ring, saving themselves some damage. That's kind of cool. No additional value for our opponent. Okay, perfect. Things are looking pretty good for us. Alright, we're gonna go for the Locust God here. Let's see. No removal spell. Please let this enter the battlefield. Don't worry about what Stage of the Falls does. Yep, we've got it. Yep, draw a card. We'll discard you. We drew that card. And rinse and repeat. We're going to go ahead and do this until we have 20 insects. We'll get rid of Absorb Energy. We can't really do anything with that. I don't mind having Time Warp. Especially since we have Galvanic Iteration here. Yep. Now if our opponent has a way to disrupt this combo, I imagine they'd use it now. Either way, we've gotten some decent value out of this, so... Nope, looks like we've got it. Alright. Alright, on the play, going up against Thalia and the Gitrog. Honestly, this looks okay. I do want to see one more land, but we have Chart a Course to kind of help us find that. I like seeing As Foretold. As Foretold is pretty good to have in hand. We're going to start with our tapped land, gain a life. Next turn, if we don't see a land, I am going to Chart a Course. Probably going to pitch the Chandra, but we'll see. Yep, let's chart that course. We find the land. We'll get rid of Chandra. That'll be good. Play out As Foretold next turn. Following turn we can go Thirst for Discovery or something like that, perhaps. Bog, get rid of our graveyard, sure. This is fine. We do find another land. Let's play As Foretold here. Start getting some spells for free in a couple of turns. It's going to be some solid value for us. I think next turn we just play our land, go for the Memory Deluge approach. Maybe our opponent... Nope, it seems like we've got it. Alright. Alright. So we're playing up against Belunda here, so our opponent definitely is going to be going for Adventure Synergies. Wash Away is nice to see in hand, but our hand is very expensive here. We're going to take one more mulligan and go ahead, keep this throwing double cast down at the bottom. Let's go ahead, say hello on back, and we're going to start with our untapped blue land. Goal for us this game, flip that Smoldering Egg and start dealing damage to our opponent. We have Seek New Knowledge to get us potential other spells that'll help us out. Turn 2 Arcane Signet is looking pretty tempting, though. Go ahead and ramp us out so we can go Smoldering Egg and Seek New Knowledge on turn 3. I like that a lot more. And our opponent's probably going to be off to a slow start, though they do have Adventure Synergy here. Yep, there's some ramp, that's fine. Let's go red, Arcane Signet. Now, next turn we've got Smoldering Egg holding up Seek New Knowledge, but as far as our opponent will be aware, it's a counterspell that we're holding up for him. We'll use that Seek New Knowledge. We'll have access to Memory Deluge to make sure we keep hitting land drops. Play out their commander here. Not bad. Alright. Well, let's go Smoldering Egg. End the turn. We're gonna go Seek New Knowledge after this. And slow and steady, we're gonna get there. And 7 Ember counters, that's gonna be the goal here. Alright. That's fine. Okay, looking good. Let's seek some new knowledge. Let's see, we can use Mirror Maid for more ramp. I like the summonings. Let's go ahead and do this. No blocks. I think next turn we're gonna go ahead and play out our summonings. We can mirror maid our summonings, which could be pretty cool for us. And then Memory Deluge is going to become really strong after that. Lots of different options. Okay, Innkeeper, sure. And our opponent's playing pretty slow, so I do think we have a great chance here. Alright, let's go Mirror Maid. Go ahead, copy you. Replicating Ring. Now we're in a great spot. Next turn, we've got Memory Deluge, making 2 4/4s and finding us 2 new cards. It's going to be very strong. It's also going to go ahead and put 4 counters on our Smoldering Egg. Can't forget about that. Let's see what creature they get out here. Honestly, not terrible. I'm going to go ahead and take another 4 here. No blocks. And it is our turn. Now, Niv Mizzet is an option, but I think Memory Deluge is going to be better. I'm going to save Memory Deluge for our opponent's turn, seeing if they attack first. They might attack not anticipating the Deluge, and not quite knowing what Summonings does. Maybe they didn't read it, even though we have 2 of them. Okay. It's not bad either. Sure. Nice. Let's see them commit to that. Yep. Memory Deluge. Only 1 card in hand, so I don't really think there's going to be a way out. Sunbird's Invocation is nice. We'll grab a blue land, because I like that as well. Go ahead, kill their commander. Take 5, I think. Let's see. Now, Niv Mizzet might be a solid play for our next turn. But we'll see. I also like Sunbird's Invocation. I think we'll try for the Invocation first. And we can go ahead and play out the Inspector. See if we get something. We may or may not. We do not, but that's alright. We can use our Inspector to chump block. We can use our Construct to chump block. We have some options. I really do want to flip that Smoldering Egg, just because I know that that's going to be a lot of value for us. Okay, opponent gets some more adventure cards, and that's fine. So I do think we are going to have to flash back Memory Deluge, just so we'll have blockers. Especially for this Pixie. Yep. I think we'll just block like this. Having the 4/4 is going to be a better blocker for us in general. Just in case we find sorcery speed options, we're going to use Memory Deluge right now. Let's see, what do we have in terms of mana? 2 mana left. What do we want to grab? We can grab a Cold Steel Heart. And honestly, just grab another land. Play the Cold Steel Heart. We have both of these as options. We're going to go for Psych Rift. Psych Rift will go ahead and put the Pixie back in our opponent's hand. 2 damage to any target. Let's go ahead and kill Bramble Familiar. And we can go ahead and pick red over there. comes to attackers, we're actually fairly free to attack in the sky with our dragon, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Next turn we can go Niv Mizzet. We can think about Locust God as well. Niv Mizzet is actually going to be really strong with Sunbird's Invocation. Lucky Clover, sure. Unfortunate, we're going to be losing our dragon. That dragon was going to be putting in work for us. Fortunately, though, we can replace it with Niv Mizzet, which is arguably going to be a much better dragon for us anyways. And we will still have plenty of mana left over to go through a couple of other options as well. Opponent can't really attack here. Yep. So we've moved on to our turn. Replicating Ring's gonna go ahead and get another counter. Opponent can hold priority because they have the instant on Rimrock Knight. Alright. Well, first and foremost, let's go ahead and cast Niv Mizzet. Sunbird's Invocation is going to trigger. So we get something else off of this. Honestly, I think Glittering Stockpile is going to be the way to go. Let's go Locust God as well, so we have multiple flying options. Locust God, of course, synergizes very well with Niv Mizzet, because Niv Mizzet will let us go ahead and draw whenever our opponent starts casting things. Opponent gains some life. And with two flying creatures, I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot for being able to block their Pixie. Alright, a whole bunch of things are going to happen here. 1 damage to any target, so let's go ahead and ping down the Innkeeper. Make our Insect. So there's another flying blocker. Probably gonna return the Locust God. Hand. Both in the hand, but we still have our blocker for their Pixie. Yeah, lots of different options here. But I think we're gonna be able to stabilize. Thinking next turn we go Locust God. Now that Locust God's in our hand, we get our Invocation trigger, which is gonna be good. From there, we can just try and draw cards, maybe go Clear the Mind. Okay, putting a creature out onto the battlefield. That should also be fine. Let's see what they end up putting here. Sure, yeah. If that's the creature they chose, that means they don't have too much better going on in their hand. Brazen Borrower as well, yep. They want flyers, then that's fine. Right, we are going to Shunt Block here. And certainly not going to risk going down to 2 life. Alright, back to us. Let's go Locust God. Sunbird's Invocation. See what we find. Kindred Discovery. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and play this out. We're going to pick Insect, and this is going to be an infinite combo for us. Good. See, so we have Wash Away to protect us. So let's go Clear the Mind to get our first card draw. Curiosity. Nice. We'll go ahead and throw Curiosity on that guy for no reason. Doesn't particularly matter. We make our insect. We draw a card. Insect. Draw a card. Alright everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed. So as we saw, the Locust God has some serious combo potential. We're actually able to build up really powerful board states and overwhelm our opponents very quickly with insects. We also have fun combo potential with both Niv Mizzet and Brawl in the deck as well. And then aside from that, we can take multiple extra turns, get additional value. We can use our summonings and Shark Typhoon just to make a bunch of other creatures as well and play the value game, focusing on countering our opponent's spells and things like that as well. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you have any ideas for another deck you'd like to see me play, why don't you let me know in a comment down below. I'll see you all next time.